Alright, so to install these cam locks, you put them there, you get them nice and square, and then you hit them with the hammer until they're flush. We'll look down and make sure that they're nice and square, pop them in. And if they're not just perfectly square, it'll be okay. You just need them really close. So what helps is to put a piece of this little cardboard underneath where you're driving to kind of add some stiffening, so because you don't want this wood to split out underneath here, which is always a possibility if you don't have good support right underneath the cam lock. Also, when driving this, sometimes you go to the edge of the table, it's much stiffer than the center of the table, and you won't get as bouncy on you. So one of the things that will make this a little nicer is this is the mid shelf, and you can identify the mid shelf by the little holes right here, and you can also see this little bevel. There's a little bevel right here. So this is the edge of the shelf that's exposed, and it's kind of got a sharp edge. So you want to go over this ahead of time and sand it really well. Just it'll be a lot easier to do now than after it's put together. So you sand them top and the bottom. Put a nice little bevel on this. And I'm just using, I think, some 180 grit. Nothing special. There we go. So here we go. Next, we're installing cam locks in the front face. Cardboard really helps. Notice I didn't that time. So when you go to the, this is the left side, the main left side of the door galley, and you'll notice that we have these holes, 4 holes here. We're actually taking these blind nuts, or T-nuts as they're called, and we're going to put them in there and set them into the wood. Good smell. Put 4 of those in. And the next thing I want to do is go ahead and install the cam lock fasteners, and we put these in, keep it nice and square. And sometimes we're going to use this piece of cardboard underneath to give us extra support underneath the cam lock. So we'll split them out. So we're also going to install these T-nuts in these 4 holes on the right side now, just like we did on the left. And then we're going to install the cam lock fastener. Once again, using our cardboard to add extra support. In the assembly is we have these 2 pieces. You notice one's a little longer than the other. The longer one goes on the thicker part here. So all we're going to do is drop this in and take this piece. Notice it's got a rounded edge over here, a sharp edge here. Rounded edge goes there. Can't hardly mess this up, really. And you're going to push them down until they're nice and flush. Then you're going to take your number 2 screwdriver, and this is important. You're going to just snug these things. So no more than about a quarter turn. So if you go all the way counterclockwise, and then you're going to go about a quarter of a turn till it just gets snug. And that's as much as you're going to tighten them for now. We'll go back later and tighten them really well. You can see that locks it in really solid. And that's the first piece. So next step is to grab, this would be your left side piece. Tell by the notch it differs from the right. The right doesn't have this notch right here. And we're going to take this piece, do it right here, and we are going to assemble it just like so. And we're going to take the, once again, Phillips screwdriver and tighten these a quarter turn, and that'll hold it. We're going to dry fit everything for now. We can take it apart and add glue later at any time. But it's great to do a test dry fit first time out. Make sure everything fits together nicely and you understand the assembly procedure for when things start coming together with glue. You can't redo it very easily. We're going to take the mid shelf, identified by the 2 holes in the bevels here, and that goes towards the front, and once again we're going to tighten these a quarter turn, and we're locked in. Step is to put in our bottom shelf. Notice we have the dados. They're going to go towards the front of the cabinet, and the smooth side goes to the back. And we are going to drop these in, push it down, and do the quarter turn, and there. Okay, so now we take the right side and we just set it on top, and we line up everything. So start at one end and get the dados started. Work towards the middle now and towards the end, and we have to tighten this. Best off to probably start at the same end, tightening the cam locks. 1/4 turn, quarter turn. Same in here. 1/4 turn, quarter turn, and then we have this one right over here, quarter turn. Okay, our next step is to put the front face on. We're going to install it with the cam locks facing up, on the same end with these cam locks facing up. And make sure you pull your paper off the sides if you have any protective paper there, or it'll get sandwiched here and be impossible to remove later. So we're just going to line everything up and tap it down. You can even use a rubber mallet to make sure it's seated. Look for any gaps that may be. And once again, do the quarter turn on the cam locks. And we also have the cam lock down here. Don't forget about that one. Okay. The next step is we're going to put the lid on. You notice we have empty back, and this is the front. And just like before, we're going to start it, get the pins, cam lock sit in there, and it should just tap in. And once again, we have some cam locks up to the top. Quarter turn. And we'll turn this around. Notice we have two back here. Quarter turn. And we have two in here. Now that we've done a mock assembly on the door galley, we're going to put it together for real. And we're going to actually put glue down. So all we're wanting to do is put a little bit and then we squeeze a little in the dado. These dados don't quite touch in the, they're about 30 thousandths or 32nd of an inch off from touching inside there. So you need a little bit of glue in there. It's better to put one ball or bead in there than to spread it out so it'll at least touch. So, I forgot. Okay. Okay. Good if we can put a little glue right here. And we're going to do a quarter turn on our cam locks like before. Sometimes you can push down on these, tighten them, reset them, and tighten them again for a little snugger fit. I'm going to take our wet washcloth and wipe out any glue that might have squeezed out. Now we're going to attach the back piece to the left hand side, and we're going to glue along here. Put a good bead of glue in the bottom of these holes. A little bit there. And nice quarter turn on the cam lock. And once again, we're going to wipe the glue. This is the back side. Doesn't matter too much. Probably more important to get it on the inside here, where you might see it when you open the doors. Okay. Next, we take our mid shelf. Again, make sure you get it identified by the bumps and the little holes. The little holes go down, and the cam locks go down, and we're going to drop glue. A nice blot on the bottom. And give it a tap. And if you want, you can put a little glue in here, lean it over. Put a little glue in there. And tighten the cam locks a quarter turn. So just really the trick on the cam locks is just till they're nice and snug. And wipe the glue. Okay. Next, we're going to do the bottom. Cam locks go down, smooth edge to the back. Apply the glue. Blob in the bottom. And just snug them down. And we'll take care of that. Wipe any glue out from the middle. Don't really care about the bottom too much. No one's going to see this bottom. But on the inside, if you want it to look nice, you can wipe that glue out. Okay. Next, we're going to install the top. And this one gets a little tricky because there's a lot of glue coming together. And we kind of have to put the glue on the top here so it doesn't all run out. So we put some glue here. And we have to do it on all the above. And now we start the end here. Get it started, make sure it goes in. Next side goes in. And that side goes in. And then we have to do our cam locks. Start the bottom, quarter turn in the middle. Quarter turn in the middle. 2, and then the one at the top here. Quarter turn. And wipe all the glue out of it. Now we set. So we're going to get some glue down here quickly. That was a good shelf. She don't put glue on that. Okay. Take the face again. Data's pointing up. Or cam lock's pointing up. And get it down good. And snug the cam locks a quarter turn until good and snug. So there's 4 on the sides, 1 on the bottom, and that takes care of that. Okay, next step. And don't forget to wipe any glue. This is on the back face. You probably won't even notice it because it's behind the face. Alright, so now to do the top. Once again, glue. snug the cam locks. Now that we got all assembled, you might go back and make sure you got all the runs, any new runs that came about, wipe all the corners well. Especially in here. Okay. Now, go back and you can really crank down on these cam locks if you want. Give them a really good tightening. Of these notches and drill a hole straight in 1 inch deep. Okay, the next thing we have to do is install these leaf hinges. And when you get these, you have to open them up and get them in the open position, and they can be quite stiff. There's a keeper tab here that makes it really tight. And the best thing to do is get a screwdriver in there and pop it out of that tab. The next part is opening these. This can be like messing with an alligator mouth. It'll spring open, so if you grab it and make sure your fingers are clear from any hinges and open it, and then let it snap into place. Try not to get pinched doing that. And that's the way we want the hinge to install it. Okay, so we're going to put together the leaf assemblies. So you'll notice that we have one here with the notch here. The one adjacent to it, these two notches are the closest together, and this has no molding on the edge, and you'll notice these little drill indicator notches, and that's the orientation we want. So then what we do is take our hinges and we orient them in this direction and put them in the notches. They should fit kind of snug. And do the same with these. And make sure that the leaves are pushed together well. Now we're going to take our 1/2 inch countersunk number 8 screws, and we are going to insert the screws into these hinges. It may be beneficial when you're doing the screws up next to the leaf hinge to bend the hinge out of the way a little bit as you insert the screw. So insert all the screws. Next step is to take the latches, and we're going to insert them into the slot. And you'll see that there's holes there to screw into. And we're going to take a number 8 countersunk screw and whoop. So one of the things is this keeper right here that retains the leaves closed is a little too stiff to open up. So I like to take a hammer and just tap that a little bit and bend it back just a little bit. And now the last step in the Lynch leaf assembly preparation is to install the cable pulls in the holes provided. And then fold our hinge up. Assembly up. And there we have it. So first thing we have to do, we set this on its side. We're going to install the leaf hinge assemblies. And we need to install the striker plate first. So I'm going to put this, using the holes provided, I am going to install the striker plate. what there is to that. So we got some more indicator holes here that we need to drill for the leaf hinges. So we put it at the capture at the base of the So we went ahead and screwed this bottom hinge assembly onto the bottom using the 1-inch, number 8 1-inch counter sunk screws. And now we're going to place the leaf assembly. Notice how this leaf's wider than this leaf, so it goes towards the front there. And we make it such that our handle is poking out there. And then now we can install the screws for the hinge. And there we have it. So if we give this a pull, it should open. And one thing to notice is the striker plate sometimes doesn't have enough bend in it. So if you find that the striker plate's too low to let it go in, you can take your rubber mallet and actually give this thing a good bend. And then it'll work just fine. Okay, one of the, I guess, trickiest parts of this assembly is threading the cable. Managing to hold this. Best thing to do is set it on the edge of a table like this. Put it up against your belly and run it through this hole. And then you're going to take the cable hold retainer, insert it along with the nut. And we're going to thread the nut on and pull it through till it stops. And here we have to separate the leaves a little bit, run the cable through, doing the same thing. You should not have to unthread these all the way if you don't want. You can just line up the notches, pull it through, and tighten the nut up against, and then pull that through. And now that becomes our table leaf retention, and you can see, let that cable drop in. Okay, next step is to take the aluminum mounting bracket and our 1/4 a 3/4 stainless steel countersunk screw, and we need a 5 30-seconds Allen key to install these. So a little word of caution on these stainless fasteners. They do not take impact guns very well, so do not use an impact on them. They tend to gall real easy, then seize and bind and break off. So it's best to do them by hand. So we just snug that. There's 4 of these screws that hold this on, so we're just going to snug each one. And then we can go through and tighten them. Each at a little at a time. Until they're all pretty good and tight. Tighten them well. If these come loose, you'll have to take the cabinet out of your van, and that won't be much fun. So. And repeat for the other side. Okay, so we're going to install the hardware on the door now. This is a Perco Pull latch, very nice Marine hardware. And what we're going to do is take the number 6 stainless steel by 3/4. These are round. These are countersunk rounded head screws. So I'm going to set those in there, and try to get them all in before you go tightening. And they're only number 6s, so go easy on the torque. So next we're going to take the stainless steel hinges, and we're taking the number 10 screw stainless steel rounded head, and we're going to put these babies in. We're just going to get them all started first. And tighten them down. It takes quite a bit to get them tight. There we go. And do the same for the other side. So we set the door in place, and now we're going to attach the hinges to the base. And now we take the latching mechanism and we attach that with the number 6 3/4 stainless. That takes care of the door. Okay, we noticed sometimes the door might be, the hinges might be a little tight or stiff, and maybe this latch doesn't quite line up. So if you go ahead and put it down and loosen, usually these 3 and these 3 screws, and then reposition the door a little bit, and then tighten just these 2, and then this one, go back and forth. And the whole time, if you can tighten that while you're holding pressure on it, it will usually sort out any problems you may have with stiff hinges or misalignment. Okay. Ready to install the cables that hold the door lid up, and the first thing you'll want to do is get a pair of pliers and bend these with about a 45, maybe a little less angle, 35 degrees or so. Like so. And then taking the number 10 screw, there's holes provided. Iron line too. Insert those. Like so. And then next, you'll notice if we have to put a half a twist in these cables, and if we twist them the right way, they will go on the inside as we shut the door versus towards the outside. So we want them to go towards the inside, like so. And then again, using our number 10 countersunk screw, and there we have it. Once again, we want to figure out which way they twist. They twist that way. And There we go. And notice how it shuts, the cables go to the end. So our final step the last thing we do on this thing, on the door galley, is to glue the back, glue and staple the back on. So we'll just run glue. Just a little glue all over everything. And then we take the back and we align it so that it has minimal overlap. And you can use nails for this, but I like to use a stapler. It's quick and easy. A hand stapler will work just fine, but I have a pneumatic one. Make sure everything's easy to go. And then, and that's it. I like to do the back last so you can get in and do things, align things. So this is the very last step, is to put the back on.
Okay.
And after you put the back on, make sure you wipe any glue just to clean it up a little bit.